I started playing squash about like 10 years ago. Dipika, my sister, she kind of introduced me to it. I was at home doing nothing, and then she was like, you can't not do anything during your holidays, you got to do some activity. So she took me to the squash course because she was playing squash at that time. So she took me there, and that's how it all started. Well, my mom and dad always told me that I needed to have the best of both worlds because they kind of, that's how everybody wants to have you good at your studies as well as good at sports. That's something you always want. But I think I kind of learned it the hard way because first I would struggle a lot. I would stay up like late nights, but I think I kind of got the hang of it once I kept time management is so important. I learned that, and I kind of would always give up on hangouts and stuff. It wasn't my thing, and I would stay back on the weekends and study and catch up on homework and stuff during the weekends. So that's how I got it. Yeah. All the way, I want to be world number one in the next 5 years, hopefully. But I'm looking at it step by step. The next goal is to break into the top, maybe 60 or top 50, that's the goal. So working towards that in the next 6 months, I'm hopefully in the top 60 and then work my way upwards. I think when I won my first ever national title, my junior national title in 2016, that was a big moment for me because I kind of worked all those 8 years towards that, and it just meant so much. And a coach who was working with me for those whole 8 years, we kind of worked together from day one. And when I won that national title, it was such a big moment for both of us. Everyone was doubting me. There was a lot of stuff, and it was difficult. There was a lot of politics and everything. But I kind of was really glad after winning that title. It just meant so much. It was the best win for me till date. Always said compared and tried to, but I've never felt the kind of pressure because I feel I've seen her, I've watched her, and she's much older to me and she's much more wiser, she's much more experienced, and I know I have a lot of catching up to do. So I kind of look at it as an advantage because she's kind of done it all. So I get first-hand advice from her, and it's awesome because I now have Saurav as well, who's number 1 in India, the squash player is number 1. So he's number 12 in the world as well. So he's my brother-in-law, so he's also in the family, and I get first-hand advice from him as well. So it doesn't get better than that. We train a lot together whenever she's in town because she's always traveling, and right now I started traveling a lot, so even I'm always traveling. So if our schedules match, then we train a lot together. We push each other pretty well. Yeah. Mostly I do the pushing though. Yeah. Good question. I like to spend a lot of time with my family, just being at home, and then just lazing around on Netflix, just watching a couple of shows and spending time with my dog. That's my favorite thing to do. Yeah.
What are you watching currently on Netflix?
Right now I'm just watching some really sappy rom-coms, really unnecessary but keeps me really happy. actually feel pretty awesome because I get to travel so much, and like I've seen so much of the world that so many people haven't got the opportunity to see. But I also find like I have to make a lot of sacrifices that people don't necessarily understand. And I've lost a lot of friends, and I've kind of not been able to keep a lot of friends, which is in one way good because you kind of know who's there and who's not there for you. But I guess I can't compare because it's so different. I sometimes just don't get people. I don't get to understand the life that people lead. I mean, everyone like has different lifestyles, so I kind of don't have very many friends who are like most of my friends are very like-minded and very like goal-oriented and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, I think in India, speaking, it's improved so much. Like I went, like the Prime Minister was felicitating us, and we kind of had so many felicitations after the Asian Games, which means a lot. Speaking for squash, like squash is hardly recognized. When I tell people I won a medal in squash, they're like, what's squash? And you know, I'm just like, that's really sad because our sport was the only sport that was not telecasted during the Asian Games. I mean, that's really upsetting because we kind of won 5 medals with 8 people, which is, I think, the best. No team has done that. That's pretty awesome, but we kind of, you know, get lost in the midst of all the other hyped up sports like tennis or badminton. Or, I mean, those sports are great, don't get me wrong, but I think that our sport is very underappreciated. But sport in India is doing really well. There's a lot of support coming in with the Sports Authority of India. They're funding a lot more players. They're looking at a lot of potential, but still it goes through the federation, and a lot of federations are very corrupt. So we still have to get through that whole area of it going from the federation. But apart from that, I think it's going upwards. Yeah. That was awesome. I was in 2014, I think I was 15 years old at that time, and the 4 people who won the medal, 2 of which were in our team at the same time, Joshna and Dipika, and then 2 other girls. I saw that and I was like, I want to be there in 4 years, and I worked so hard towards that, and I kind of started working from 2014 to achieve that goal in 2018, and we had the trials in the Indian Squash Academy in the month of like May. And I worked so hard. I went to Egypt, I trained, I did everything I possibly could. I felt so much pressure under that situation because, you know, you're working for something for so long and you want it so bad, and there's so much pressure to it, but I kind of just believed in myself and pushed through that pressure situation. And then after being selected, I was so happy, but I knew that that was not it. You obviously want to go ahead and win a medal, so we worked towards that as well. I think that was when we played the pool stages. We played Hong Kong. So I think I went in second, Dipika went in first, and she lost that. So when I went in second, I was 2 love down, and I was nowhere in the game. Like I was absolutely like lost in the midst of how like she was playing. She was always on top of me for some reason. I don't know what happened that day. I don't remember. I wish I did, so I'd do it every match. I don't know what happened, just something told me that just don't give up, you've got this. And I just kept going till the end, and in the 5th game I was 10-7 down, match ball down. And then I just kind of told myself, just stay and then you'll be okay. And then I just kind of, everything just clicked and it just worked. And going in, you know, when it's 1-1 and you're playing the decider, Joshna kind of obviously had a lot of pressure, both sides there was a lot of pressure, but the girl she played was obviously better than her that day. But I mean, they still tried really hard, and the next day the 2 girls did so well to beat Malaysia. They did amazingly well. And then we couldn't maintain the same when we played Hong Kong, but I mean, it was still awesome to like have won that match. it is my biggest win, but I mean, I feel a little sad hearing that because I wish there were bigger wins. But anyway, I'm sure it's coming. But the next plan is to go to Egypt and train for a month and then play a tournament over there. It's a professional tournament. It's a small tournament, but I have to play it to keep my points going and like to increase my ranking. So the next plan for the next 6 months is to just keep playing PSAs, that's professional tournaments, and to kind of keep my ranking going up, and hopefully I reach the top 60 as I said, and top 50 hopefully soon.